You can feel it in the air. That crisp, unmistakable chill that tells you winter is waking up early this year. And I'm not just talking about a few cold nights here and there. I'm talking about a pattern that's already shaping up to bring one of the snowiest, coldest winters we've seen in years. From the Pacific Northwest all the way to the Northeast, we're seeing signs that winter 2025 is ready to roll in hard and fast, starting as early as late October and early November. Now, if you've been following the recent trends, you know we've had hints of this setup for weeks. A strong jet stream dropping out of Canada, moisture building along the western slopes, and temperatures across the northern US already running below average. But now it's becoming clear. The next few months are going to test how ready we really are for a full-blown coast-to-coast winter. Let's start out west, because that's where this story begins. The Pacific Northwest, Oregon, Washington, and parts of Idaho are already gearing up for an early snow season. We're talking mountain snow piling up before Halloween, and by the time we get into November, those snow totals could be measured in feet. Places like Spokane, Boise, and even Seattle's surrounding hills might pick up 15 to 25 inches by mid-November alone. The Cascades? Expect totals over 200 inches by the time we wrap up February. This is the kind of snowpack that sets the tone for the whole season. It feeds the cold air. It locks in the pattern, and it keeps storm after storm on repeat. Moving into the northern Rockies, Montana and Wyoming are right in the thick of it. Billings, Bozeman, Jackson Hole. These areas could see over 100 inches of snow by February. Denver. You're probably looking at a solid 70 to 90 inches this year, well above average, and much of that coming in several powerful bursts throughout December and January. The Front Range and the plains east of the Rockies are going to have their fair share of blizzards too. Those Arctic fronts coming down in waves will mix with Pacific energy. And that's when we get those full-scale snow events that shut down highways and turn cities into snow globes overnight. If you'd like specific weather forecasts for your region or city, please leave them in the comments. I'll answer them individually as time allows. Also, if you like the video and subscribe to my channel, you'd be very grateful. Now, let's move on. And speaking of Arctic fronts, get ready, because within the next week, that cold air is already knocking on the door. The Midwest and Great Lakes are about to flip the switch from fall to deep winter almost overnight. I'm talking about highs in the 30s, lows in the teens, and the kind of biting wind chill that instantly reminds you of the 2013 winter. You remember that one, right? The one that just kept coming and coming, with polar air that wouldn't let go? Yeah, this one might not be quite that extreme, but it's definitely going to have that same energy. Chicago, Detroit, Milwaukee, Cleveland, the core of the snow belt. I'm expecting frequent snow events starting in early November. By midwinter, I think we'll be looking at totals pushing 60 to 80 inches in Chicago, close to 90 inches around Cleveland, and even higher totals across Michigan's Upper Peninsula, where triple-digit snowfall is likely. Buffalo and Syracuse? Get ready for lake effect season to kick off early and stay relentless. Pierre de Boisifret Wen Bowen minus 120 inches or more by the end of February wouldn't surprise me one bit. Let's shift to the Northeast, because if you think this pattern's going to spare the big cities, think again. Once we get that cross-country storm track established, we're going to see multiple nor'easter setups forming along the East Coast. Boston, New York City, Philadelphia. The whole corridor is in play for a classic snow-heavy season. I wouldn't be shocked if Boston ends up near 80 inches by late February, with several 6 to 10 inch snowstorms sprinkled in. New York City should see around 45 to 55 inches total, which is a healthy amount above average. Even Washington, D.C. could see 20 to 30 inches this winter, which is rare, but absolutely possible with this setup. And the cold. Oh, it's going to bite. January is shaping up to be the heart of it. The jet stream will likely take on that familiar deep dip over the central and eastern US, locking in sub-freezing temperatures across the Midwest, Great Lakes, and Northeast for weeks at a time. By mid-January, we could easily see morning lows below zero across Minnesota, Wisconsin, and northern Illinois. Even down into Missouri and Kansas, single-digit lows are likely. Out in the plains and central states, it's going to be a roller coaster early on, but by late November, that cold air is going to settle in for real. Oklahoma City, Wichita, Kansas City. Each of these cities could end up with around 25 to 40 inches of snow this winter, mostly from systems diving down out of the Rockies and then intensifying over the plains. Dallas might even get in on the action this year. Maybe not a full whiteout, but enough to make headlines when it happens. Now let's talk about the South, because even though this won't be a record-breaking winter down there, it's still going to be a noticeable shift from the last few years. The Southeast, especially Tennessee, the Carolinas, and northern Georgia, could all see a few rare snow and ice events. Nashville might see 10 to 15 inches total this season, with a few mornings dipping into the teens. Atlanta could see a couple of snowy surprises in January or February. Maybe just an inch or two at a time, but enough to bring that winter wonderland feel. And in the Southwest? You'd better believe the mountains are cashing in. Flagstaff, Arizona could top 90 inches this year. Northern New Mexico and parts of Colorado's San Juans could see over 150 inches by March. Even Las Vegas might catch a flurry or two as those cold fronts sweep south in December and January. If you're in California, especially, the Sierra Nevada, buckle up. This is looking like another big snow year up there. I think we're going to see totals in the 300-inch range for the Upper Sierra. Maybe even more if those Pacific storms line up just right. Reno, Tahoe, Mammoth. You're in for an incredible snowpack this season. The kind that makes for great skiing, but also demands caution for avalanches and travel. By the time we reach February and head toward March, the cold should still be hanging on strong across much of the country. This isn't going to be one of those winters that fades early. It's going to linger. And while it may not quite reach the historic depths of 2013, when the polar vortex locked the nation in an icy grip, it's going to come close in spirit. The snowfall totals will be above normal almost everywhere, and the cold will feel relentless, especially in the northern half of the country. To put it all together, if you live anywhere from the Pacific Northwest through the Midwest and into the Northeast, this winter is going to feel like an extended battle between Arctic air and persistent storm energy. It's going to be the kind of winter that tests snowplows, fills up the sledding hills, and gives us that nostalgic, storybook kind of season that we've been missing for a while. So if you've been waiting for a true, old-fashioned winter, it's here. Stock up on the firewood, check your heating systems, get those snowblowers ready, because from November through February, and honestly, maybe even into March, it's going to be a long, cold, snowy ride across America. Now, looking at the 8 to 14-day outlook, we're talking November 5th through the 11th. The maps start painting a more mixed picture. The east looks to remain near or slightly below normal, but that pocket of warmth over the central states really expands. It's that battle zone again, a warm ridge in the middle. Cold troughs pressing on both sides. And that's a recipe for more volatile weather. If you step back and look at the past 30 days, the setup starts to make sense. The West Coast spent most of October cooler than normal. The central states stayed mild, and the East saw its fair share of backdoor cold fronts slipping down the Appalachians. We've been talking about that for weeks, those sneaky fronts that slide in from the Northeast, bringing sharp temperature drops without a full-blown Arctic blast. And sure enough, that pattern delivered exactly as expected. Now heading into November, you can almost feel the atmosphere tugging in two directions. On the maps, you'll see the main low over the southeast gradually lifting toward the mid-Atlantic and northeast, while Hurricane Melissa weakens and transitions into more of a classic coastal system, what we'd call a strong nor'easter-type event. It won't pack hurricane-force winds anymore, but it'll still be potent enough to bring heavy rain, gusts, and coastal flooding from New Jersey up through New England before sliding into eastern Canada. And while all of that's happening, we've got the jet stream screaming overhead, carving out deep cold over the central and eastern US, while pumping warmth into the west. That's the setup for Halloween and the first few days of November. Big contrasts, big energy, and big potential for more storm systems to form along those temperature boundaries. Alright, if you'd like specific weather forecasts for your region or city, leave your region or city in the comments. I'll answer them individually as I have time. Commenting is completely free. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.